To visit the Sheldon Museum of Art is a chance to commune with the famous and works with great histories, up-and-coming new talents, and pieces fresh off the easel.
This painting by Jean Quick-to-See Smith is the most recent painting acquisition for the museum, and so the paint on it is pretty fresh.
The acquisition reflects a shifting priority to increase the number of works by talented emerging artists, as well as those artists traditionally underrepresented in most every museum in the world.
It is also part of the museum's mission to showcase the great diversity of American artists, women artists, artists of color, and Native American artists like Jean Quick-to-See Smith.
Curator Brandon Rood helped select pieces like this one for a year-long exhibition of paintings that will rotate in from the museum's widely respected permanent collection, a collection carefully acquired through the last 125 years by the Sheldon Art Association.
We are very fortunate to have examples by some of the premier artists in American art history. Eastman Johnson, John Singer Sargent, Thomas Eakins, Marsden Hartley, Joseph Stella. But in addition to that, it's an active collection. We're always looking for new ways to expand the collection, new ways to redefine what it means to be an American artist or what American art means.
One of the Sheldon's newest and proudest acquisitions is a work by another well-known artist who had been overlooked by many for years.
It's undoubtedly the most significant painting acquisition that Sheldon has made over the last several years. Lee Krasner was a major abstract expressionist, and she was very much influenced by nature in her paintings. And so when you look at the canvas, you're not looking at a literal representation of nature, of course, but she was trying to evoke the energy of nature. Lee Krasner was one of the most important artists to emerge in post-war America. She was really interested in all of these influences that were coming to the fore at the time, in particular psychoanalysis. And she was using abstraction to capture her unconscious. And this was the inspiration of many artists working at the time, in particular her husband, Jackson Pollock. But I think her relationship with him also underscores many of the histories of women artists still working in the 20th century. He's considered the great cowboy of abstract expressionism, and yet she was the one who was perhaps more educated, better understood modern painting, but her career still took a backseat to his, and it was only after his death was she really emerging on her own terms as an artist. And then over the past few decades, as a recognizable force in her own right, as a great painter.
One of the most iconic and beloved paintings in the Sheldon collection is Edward Hopper's Room in New York.
It is probably one of the top 5 most recognized paintings in the country, and it's as if you're walking down a New York City street and stop for a moment in front of these people's windows. You're capturing a secret, clandestine view into their lives, and because of that, you can create your own narrative, and I think that's what many people do, and why they come to this painting over and over again. Painting has such a great tactile quality to it, and seeing a painting for the first time in person, you have such a visceral reaction. People may have seen them in a book, whether on an iPhone or iPad on a computer, but seeing it for the first time, experiencing it, there's nothing that can quite replace that feeling. You think you know a painting, you think you know Edward Hopper's Room in New York because you've seen it reproduced in multiple different media. But seeing it for the first time, noticing that he had originally put a large bowl in the center of the table to further separate the couple that's in the painting, but then he removed it. You achieve these additional layers of understanding that are just quite brilliant, and again, can't quite be captured just looking at the reproduction online in a book, and that's why we always encourage people, come to the Sheldon, see it in person.
Sheldon Museum of Art director Daniel Veneciano spends a great deal of time evaluating potential new acquisitions on his computer. But even for him, There's no substitute for seeing a work in person.
This painting is by Patsy Valdez, who was part of an important Chicano sort of activist artist collective in Los Angeles in the 1970s. This painting was done much later, but I went to visit Patsy's studio with the intention of buying a different painting. And when she pulled out this particular canvas, I was so captivated by it that I changed my mind. That's part of the importance of seeing real works of art live and in person than just simply online. And what's remarkable about this is that it combines numerous styles. It's truly surrealist. You can see kind of Salvador Dali drips. You get a sense of Vincent van Gogh's swirl. The painting comes alive. It's titled The Crying Tree. One of the things I love about this painting is that it makes room for the viewer's emotional space. And I think that's what good art can do, is make room for our feelings.
While the museum may be well known for its painting collection, it represents just a third of the Sheldons' 12,000 works, which also include a variety of other media, including a highly regarded sculpture collection.
This work is by Richard Hunt, a preeminent American artist based in Chicago. The piece is called From an Open Center. One of the things I love about this piece is that it's made from industrial materials. He often works in steel, this is bronze, and uses industrial techniques, welding. But with that, he produces something that's absolutely lyrical and poetic, so far from its industrial origins. What he's able to do to create these gestures is stunning, really.
And if the artwork is not quite enough for you, look no further than the building itself, considered to be a work of art in its own right.
This year we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of this remarkable building, designed by Philip Johnson in 1963. We put together what we call the Naked Museum exhibition, and it's designed to do exactly that, which is to call attention to the beauty of the building itself.
The Sheldon took down the artwork and put the walls on display.
In the Great Hall, you'll see Roman and Greek-style columns reminiscent of a Roman temple, for example. You'll find those gold-leaf discs on the ceiling, which were inspired by Islamic mosques. You'll see corners and vaulted ceilings that were inspired by Gothic cathedrals in Europe.
The Sheldon is no longer naked. Instead, she's dressed to the nines with some new pieces and classic favorites to wear on her walls.